Welcome to the Spirit of Leadership podcast. Listen in as we talk with emerging as well as seasoned leaders, change makers, and visionaries, and hear their stories, how they have overcome challenges, how they cultivate inspired vision as stewards and mentors, shining their light to uplift and empower others, reconnecting us through a sense of belonging to the natural world and to the interweaving circles of just and vital communities. Hello, Sandra. I am so happy to be here with you on the Spirit of Leadership podcast, and I look forward to our conversation. And I would like you to introduce yourself to our listeners, because I'd like to hear where you are now, who you are now.
Thank you, sister. Welcome, everyone. Blessings. I am Sandra Walter. Officially, I guess my title would be Ascension Guide, which came in maybe like 20 years ago before I even knew what that was. But I am a conduit for higher realm intelligence, specifically focused on the ascension process, the organic ascension process. I've been teaching and sharing for since 1999 in a mastery focus since about 2010. And I teach classes online. I hold space for the Sunday Unity meditations that have been running for, we're coming up on 10 years now, global meditations. I write my collective every week and have a presence on social media and YouTube, etc. So if anyone's curious about what I do or what I've talked about, there's a lot of herstory there. But the main thing right now is escorting people through a mastery level of the ascension process that deals with a unique experience of merging with the I Am presence, which is my main focus right now. So even though I taught foundational practices for quite a while, I've moved on. I've ascended my practice itself to specifically focus on mastery and higher levels of the ascension process.
And I've been following you and with you for quite a few years. So I love your light letter newsletters, and I encourage everyone to register for those because they're so beautiful. And it's so wonderful to get those timely updates of how you're experiencing and how you're seeing what's happening for the collective. And those are very precious. So I encourage people to do that. And I'm in your Presence Collective, and I love the Presence gatherings. And I just really am so grateful for your voice and your guidance and your commitment, more like a joyful participation in that very focused presence. And that's what I love also about your way showing, is that you've been speaking in that same voice with that same language all this time. And that to me is very profound.
Oh, thank you, sister. Yeah, I went through quite a transformation when I walked away from everything in early 2011. And that's when I was guided to go to Mount Shasta that I had never been to. And I was literally living outside on the mountain for quite a few years, 7 years. And it just, part of me feels that if you can, being a way shower is truly showing the way, but it's also showing like a freedom of the journey. Because a lot of people are like, wow, I wish I could just give all of my belongings away and live without money and have that experience. And so few people do or would be able to because they have responsibilities or too much fear, etc. So I feel like by having that experience or having that experience on behalf of everyone and then reporting back what the experience is like. But for me, that was a true turning point in my journey. I've had many times where I've given everything away and walked away from my life in order to level up. But I feel like that precious time on Mount Shasta was really when a lot of people started connecting with me because there was a freedom there. There was a lightening of the heart that came with those transmissions and continue in the transmissions to this day of showing people what's possible when you really free your heart and your soul to express in a new way and really focus on what am I doing here and what would I like to experience, and allowing yourself to just let everything fall into place or fall away what isn't needed. I think there's a true courage and a level of bravery that all of us that embrace an authentic ascension process have to take on or activate at our own journeys. So it's it's beautiful to be able to walk the path with others that maybe they take like little windows of time and have that experience, because I do strongly believe in unity consciousness, that if many of us are having an experience or testing the boundaries of our self-imposed limitations, that it does have an effect on the collective. So that's been fun to kind of show people, yes, it's totally possible to dedicate yourself to a path and see what happens. Kind of open up to what the higher consciousness has to share with us. And it's not up there, out there, that it is truly within, and you kind of open up the records of what's inside of you, and then you get a whole bunch of higher beings that show up and want to walk that journey or are dedicated to that journey or have been dedicated to that journey when they were informed. So it's this beautiful reunion, right? That doesn't feel like us and them. It's very blended, a true unity, or an experience of pure unity consciousness that I find quite beautiful.
And your way of sharing that is so inviting, which I find really lovely, because it really feels like you're gathering us in so that we can belong together in this process. And I love even the way you described that your own process was so that you could then bring that to people in various realms of their lives to be able to experience that with you. So I love that. And most recently, the experience of 0 point and coming from 0 point. And ever since you started talking about that, but just recently about expressing from 0 point out. So I'd love you to talk a bit about that.
Yeah, the interest, that's probably the most fascinating thing that's happening with our collective ascension right now, is we were walking this path and clearing out all the flotsam of the old and all the distortions and all the disconnection that we had from the true self. And there's definitely phases of that process. But all of a sudden, collectively, we got to a certain level where then we were focusing purely on opening this Christed heart, this crystalline stargate that was within. And after we were capable of holding that and feeling love light intelligence flowing through us and opening our fields, etc., and reconnecting with higher self, Christ itself, I am presence levels, then suddenly 0 point was starting to present. And it's interesting because it's like you have to kind of clear away all of the interference or the external influence or whatever it is that we were kind of holding. It's like a series of belief systems that have to be transmuted in order for us to be able to experience 0 point, the core. And we always talked about like the source spark. And then when you actually like created the opening of the stargate of the heart, and you discovered, wait a minute, there's like this central point, a true 0 point that source was attempting. There was an energy there that from straight from even over solar I am presence level that wanted to emerge, change the magnetic of the heart so that you learned a different way of creating. You learn to create as your higher levels do, from a source informed, inside out. And we always heard source was within, etc. But after we kind of got through all the platitudes and everything, all the stories that were around that, and actually felt it and really comprehended what that was, it's so profound now to feel the magnetics of your own way of creating change. And we're experiencing it collectively. Presence Collective is really taking it to the next level, but it's to experience it as a group is above and beyond for me, because I could experience it on my own. And then teaching it, it was like little by little, people were awakening to that level, capable of feeling it from the inside out. And then to experience it in person, say like at our Crystalline Convergence, our annual gathering, present in the room. It was really unique to feel that instant, on of the field, and not coming from, again, a top down way. It was like all of us, like our collective 0 points were getting together and feeding it and emanating it. And even though we've been commanding the conduit state to be a pure conduit of pure source love light intelligence, to actually feel like the activation of 0 point in the last couple of years is above and beyond what I expected to experience as a collective. So that to me is not just precious and profound, but it also is validation for all the intel that's coming in about this 3-year window. 1 year's already gone. So 2 more years of this intense acceleration that a lot of ascending souls were going to experience. And I feel like, wow, all of a sudden we're going to be teaching and sharing transcendence next year, which is something I thought was further down the line, honestly, as far as the teaching one step after the other and experiencing it too, because we can talk about it, but to actually walk through it with others is quite profound. So all of a sudden, transcendence, which is not leaving the planet or dissolving or disappearing or anything, it's a complete transformation of consciousness, going into pure unity consciousness consistently. That is quite a radical change. When you think that most of the time, I don't personally know anybody who's capable of holding a consistent transcendent state, that most people are still toggling between the things that they have to do in the linear space: pay your rent, pay your bills, deal with your job, deal with your family, deal with the neighbors, whatever it is, just dealing with a linear, dense lifestyle, as well as pure unity consciousness. So most of us were toggling between the two and trying to balance, all this focus on balancing dualistic sides and, dualistic dimensions and densities, etc. To feel that going away is interesting, but also to feel the field itself of Gaia fully supporting a whole bunch of people, I mean, millions of people, entire soul groups going into a different state of consciousness where you can hold that consistently, like to truly be in a transcendent state and still be able to operate in these realms, but somewhat unbothered, untouchable by the lower frequencies. And even though we've been feeling that and feeling the self correcting mechanism of holding the presence, because it does, it just takes care of things. To feel that more consistently over the last couple of years, but just to know that, at the completion of this next couple of years, there's going to be this true ascension of millions of people into this higher field state of pure unity consciousness and a truly transcendent state, and to feel the level of service because it has such a profound effect on the global consciousness, on every single being that has incarnated here that has an organic soul is will be transformed, because suddenly you've got this extremely higher vibration held in unity consciousness, not just a one-off like the masters used to be able to achieve their ascension, floating above the Himalayas or whatever. It's not like that. It's together now. It's pure unity consciousness, and Gaia is ready, and the higher realms are ready, and everything. And it's quite an exciting passage. And there's a great deal of curiosity about the unknown. And for me, I'm very excited, but also preparing for this level of teaching and presence and experience, and capable of holding that much energy and space and higher consciousness for myself as well as others. It's requiring some lifestyle changes and some kind of doubling down on my dedication for moment to moment activities, etc. I feel I will be capable of teaching the way I'm teaching for a couple more years, but after that, who knows? If we are in a different state of consciousness, I right now I'm not confident that we will be capable of doing the amount of linear dense work that it takes to keep people connected online and things like that. But we'll see. Maybe transcendence itself, the vibration itself, makes that easier. Or maybe there's people who present that want to feel or support that are more capable of handling like linear things. I'm not sure what happens there, but I'm willing. I'm willing to take on the experience. This is the thing that we've been anticipating for so long. So it's quite beautiful to be in that moment. It's not even down the line, it's now, right? Especially with this sacred season and solstice coming up. Such a beautiful activation point for a lot of people embodying the presence. Yeah.
Yeah, speak a bit about that, about this sacred season, since we're right on the threshold of that or moving
Yeah,
through
we're
that
in it.
threshold. Hmm.
Yeah, so Sacred Season started on the 12/12 and goes for 7 weeks all the way through the end of January. And even though it happens every year, and even though it looks like calendar weeks or whatever, it's actually a very ancient encoded passage for death and resurrection. And even though it aligns with the linear turning of the calendar and all the energies of everyone getting so excited about, well, on January 1st, I'm going to change my whole life, which is beautiful that there's so much energy. But it actually is focused around this ancient story narrative, even before Yeshua stepped into an incarnation here on the planet, of the solstice, the sun dying on the solar cross for 3 days. It looks like it's coming up in the same place and then moving again after 3 days. So the story of being dead for 3 days and then resurrecting as a soul, or the sun, is encoded into the solstice, the winter solstice passage, which has always been profound. I have to say, if you've been on the path and you honor those that week and solstice itself, if you prepare yourself and try not to get too distracted by Christmas busyness, the light and the experiences and the visions and the energies for transformation are all there and quite amplified. It's a huge gateway, goes for 7 weeks, but the intensity, the kickoff of revelation of where you are on your path really happens around solstice. I've had pure solar flashing experiences since 2019 during the solstice passage. It always happens is when I get all the information on what's going to unfold for the next year. There's a lot of clarity there. The veils are very thin. This year, we're having a lot of solar and geomagnetic activity, and which is just the fluctuations of the magnetosphere that create the veils suddenly get thinner. So you get a lot more visions, a lot more juice and cosmic plasma and energy, DNA activation. Everything happens during this passage. So it's really a time to go within, be with Source, be with Gaia, be with yourself, create some quiet, some stillness, tapping into 0 point so that you can hear and feel the truth of your journey, not from guides, not from higher levels, but really from the truth within. Just you and Source witnessing what is unfolding with your trajectory. It's a perfect time to call forth the Christ itself, the resurrection of the true self within. You want to spend time in nature, even though I know it's cold. Everyone's like, but it's so cold out. You're talking to someone who has camped in the snow for many times. So unless you're waking up in a tent with snow on it, put on a coat and go outside. And because you want to get in the morning sunrise light, sun gazing at that morning sunrise period is very activating. You want to make sure you're bathing yourself in the cosmic rays that are not just coming in, but Gaia herself, the crystalline core, gets amplified because she's turning into a more solar entity, a spiritual sun. So you feel like the emanation coming through the kingdoms and elementals right out of the ground. But if you connect your heart center to the crystalline core of Gaia consciously, greet her, and then go up through your ascension column, through the heart center, and connect to Solaris, the sun, galactic center, grand central sun level, and just expand your fields every day for an hour. You will receive everything that you need to receive during this passage, and try to minimize distractions as much as possible, especially like the inorganic stuff that keeps all the kind of staticky electrical charge, being online, social media, all the beautiful things that are lovely to wish everyone happy holidays, but don't be scrolling or just distracting yourself. Like there's an opportunity during sacred season that is uniquely available in this now. So honor it as much as you can. If you can tap in, especially on solstice, we have unity meditations running all morning long, a special one at 7 a.m., which is the peak of solstice. But you can tap in with your sisters and brothers in the field, and you just be the presence. You don't have to do anything, fix anything. A lot of it is dissolving the old narratives and allowing yourself to tap into 0 point, or at least into the heart center, and be peace, unity, ascension, freedom on behalf of all. And then you'll feel yourself dissolving into that state of unity consciousness where you can feel all the other light workers and stargate keepers and grid workers, etc., that have dedicated themselves to mastery, to organic ascension, and there's support there. So if you're feeling lost, come and join us in the field. It's quite beautiful. But yeah, you're going to want to be creative, not busy, but creative, and tap into the stillness as often as possible. It's not a time for restriction or trying to get as pure as possible before solstice or anything. There's definitely an ease and grace here, but you do want to watch, not putting too much. I know it's Christmas, so know, maybe not cookies every day, kind of thing. Maybe not indulgence every day. Give yourself some space or wait until Christmas to celebrate after the resurrection window, just to kind of keep your fields as clear as possible and your DNA and everything operating as clear as possible so that you can feel that activity. There's a great outpouring of light and support during this passage that we have not seen. Just from the Stargate perspective, there's, crystalline doves and, all these like different source particles and frequencies and crystalline love light, golden crystalline diamond light frequencies already in the field, and they're just getting stronger. So there's a great support for everything that we have going on. So we are embracing our responsible creator vibration and beingness and saying, okay, I know that the cosmic mother plasma and the source particles, which are these high vibrational electrons that create our realities, I know that they are commanded to obey my consciousness, that's subconscious as well as conscious. So if you can be more aware of what you are creating during this window and learn to stop creating what is out of service and getting into alignment of qualifying your light with love light intelligence, being source and form rather than allowing all the external or what you were or the past or the subconscious to dominate and create chaos, disorder, more of the same. If you truly want change, it's a good time to be a little bit more acute about your creation, or at least if you're beginning to witness what your creation, take full responsibility for it and shift. A lot easier to shift during sacred season. Does that
And
make sense?
yeah, I just love hearing you talk about it because I feel that you embody this in such a beautiful way. The way that I feel I receive it, and I'm sure that other people receive it because I can feel it, even though I wasn't there with you in person at presence. I am grateful for the online ability to have been there, and I could feel it even through the live stream.
Oh, the
This,
convergence.
yes,
Yeah.
convergence. I would love to be there someday in person, but I feel that all the pieces that you're talking about, being in nature, being in stillness, being clear, being aware, and honoring that presence within yourself. I love that you call it presence because that word has so many resonances to it. And so the other thing that I love about being in your presence is, first of all, the unity meditations on Sunday. And through the years, just being able to simply be at that time and dedicate that time and feel that whatever it is each time, like no expectation, no trying to do anything except for this is this time dedicated to this, and knowing that there's this whole field of people and souls who are connecting.
Yeah. And you can feel it, right? It's just
Yes.
the minute, I mean, now I don't even have to look at the clock anymore.
No.
It's just there. And it's just, yeah, and you can feel everyone. Like, those of us with vision can see, the higher level collective. We don't see people sitting in the living room often, but you can see like the higher selves of everyone. Sometimes we're playing, sometimes we're working, sometimes we're just holding the space, but there's a lot's happening. But I have to say, like in the last year or so, the that permeating vibration of pure Om, pure 0 point source, love light intelligence is so comforting to step into the field. Again, we were told this synchronization is the thing. If you can infuse the field all at the same time, you have a greater effect even when you're not in that meditation space together. So there's these pinpoint infusions of people tapping into unity consciousness, and it changes the field for everyone, which is quite beautiful. But it's lovely to sit down to meditate, and you're like, oh, blessings, everyone. Thank you. Here we are. It's just lovely. It's lovely. And I have to say, it's gotten more refined, more and more refined as we all walk through this together. We always have new people kind of stepping into the field and having these experiences of, whoa, I actually felt that because we're very practiced, but also the frequency in the field itself. Somebody taps into it just consciously, wants to connect, and instantly they're like, whoa, what is that? It's like, well, that's you, right? That's your true
Mm,
nature right
mm,
there. Yeah,
yeah.
it's lovely.
So lovely. And the other, you were talking about the sensing the Om and that presence of the consciousness, the unity consciousness. And one of the practices, the consistent practices that you've been giving has to do with using the word, the process of the word, and the creativity of our word, and bringing our spirit to our word, and in the sacred decrees. So I'd love you to talk more about that, because that's especially important. That's especially moving to me, the process
Mm,
of using our voice to express and then to watch what happens, to experience what happens when you speak.
yeah, exactly. And we want to use the tools that are in the body. All right, we want to be able to use the body because our higher consciousness is using this vehicle to create things, to not only create an experience, but learning, remembering how to create in unity consciousness as one has been one of the more fascinating aspects of walking through presence. And it was, I, I used to have, there were all these beings and masters who were doing it, who were demonstrating this to me, of how, like, the spoken, they would just speak something or have a tone, or tone together or speak things together, and instantly things were manifested, whether it was a field, whether it was a vision or light or whatever. And I was just like, what are the mechanisms behind that? Like, how do we do that? And even though decreeing is like a practice from the Essenes, probably earlier than that, of a way to use, to command things into form, to create an experience, to call light into form, into creation. It was, and not only that, but a way to retrain the brain and the subconscious to stop creating in a limited, dense way, and to open up and command a new a new creation. And I was fascinated by that. And the decrees have been consistently like part of our process, of course, not the whole process. But then when they started adding a few years ago, the AUM, which is actually in the Upanishads, of a harmonic, three tones that together were the presence of source as self. It was a way of creating as source does through this mechanism of body and different dimensions. And you would actually, and even though we know the sacred Om that toned the universe into being because sound creates light, etc., there was a way for all of us to tap into unity consciousness, to use the AUM to form love light intelligence into something, into commanding more ascension, more light, more unity consciousness, whatever it was that we were focusing on. And for individuals to use like the practices through presence and the guided meditations and all the different things that we explore, but then to do it as one, whether it's in the presence event or the convergence, things like that, or even in the unity meditations, to actually feel and experience just calling forth more love light intelligence. Wow. It was beautiful because we wanted to amplify like what our true nature actually was. And without, like, before we get to the step of now we're all going to create a sun or create a crystal or create, a thing or an activity or whatever, it was, uh, it was learning just the very beginning steps of calling forth just love, light, intelligence, and allowing source to be present, to actually feel like you have to, all the mystery schools and everything we're all about, you need to feel the presence first before you get into trying to create new plants or birds or whatever we were doing in the mystery schools. Yeah, before you start moving rocks around, like just being able to tap in and be capable of using unity consciousness itself. So the qualification of our words, the qualification of light through the toning and unified focus was a very beautiful step in this process. And to feel it, like now we're going to go into actually creating things and states of consciousness next year, which is still wildly interesting to me. But to be able to feel just love, just presence, just to feel all of us as our higher consciousness is beautiful because it ignites all of that DNA memory and the records of pure beingness again. And it feels, even though it can feel overwhelming, and it does kind of clear out any lower emotions or lower thought forms or lower activities, which is also beautiful because it does kind of go on autocorrect. That's beautiful too. But to feel like outside of the personal experience, which was really profound for me, my presence activation a few years ago was quite profound. But to feel it as one, to feel all of us going into that state, still unique experiences. It's not all the same thing. That would make no sense because Source wants all these different experiences through us. But to feel all of us going into pure love, light, intelligence, and for it to land and register on the light body and the cells and the DNA and the consciousness above and beyond all of my expectations for what we were capable of experiencing as one, even though it was predicted. I'm somebody who receives intel all the time. So even though they say something's going to happen, to live the experience is quite beautiful.
And it's so beautiful to bring that through in these different ways, through the voice, through being with the tree or being outside and connecting with Gaia. And they all come together. I feel like that's what I'm hearing you're saying is it all comes together.
Yeah, pure unity consciousness. And that's not just unity with other humans or
Mm.
unity with the planet, it's unity with all that is. And I feel like when you practice and decree and tone, especially as a group, now your fields are reflecting that. It's in your field. Your DNA is beaming that frequency, beaming those harmonics. And you'll notice like plants, animals, minerals, the land, the skies respond to it. There's definitely a presence there that it just becomes on all of a sudden it's turned on. And when you reach a certain level, all of a sudden you can't step down. At the beginning of your journey, you can waver.
Mhm.
The presence is very different. The I am presence reconnection is quite different because suddenly now there's you're not capable of creating that distortion any longer. And especially when you get glimpses of and the sensation of what that's really like, that pure love, light, intelligence state, the desire to create distortion is gone. It's quite beautiful.
And it's beautiful too when you're talking about sensation and tuning into how you experience it, because it's not transcendence beyond this vessel, this instrument that we have as part of Gaia.
Yeah, because the whole point was to, stay in the body as long as possible so that you could show humanity what was possible.
Mm.
So, and I know a lot of people hear Ascension Guide and they're like, I don't want to leave the planet. It's like, what are you talking about? So there's a lot of religious flotsam, a cloudiness around the ascension term too, because a lot of people associate it with leaving this realm. And when you're transcending states of consciousness, it can feel like that sometimes. I have to say, as somebody who had a full solar flashing experience a couple of times, it does feel like you're leaving.
Mm.
And the body too kind of has a reaction of like, oh my gosh, I'm going to dissolve. I'm going to disappear, because it does feel like it's disappearing because it's not real to begin with. Body, I love you. But it's an experience in density. And when you start having rewrites of your consciousness that change the codes and the DNA itself that were kind of holding how you expressed in a body in place. And when they're getting washed away, it does feel like you're going to disappear. So I feel like a lot of the stories or the belief systems around what ascension was or what people think ascension is come from a lot of people having experiences back in the day, pardon me, of, oh my gosh, I'm going to disappear. And they freaked out, and now it's a code in their DNA
Mm.
record
Mm.
of, oh, I don't want to do that, or a total fear. The body will just completely go into fear, and you do have to parent it, through those experiences. So if anyone even gets close to a what we call a solar flashing experience, it looks like you're meditating, you're connecting with the sun, you're connecting with Gaia, and it looks like the sun swells and engulfs all of creation. It just all of a sudden there's nothing. Your heart swells with the sun, and it just looks like, and it's a very lucid, a very real experience. So it's not just a vision; it's a physicalization of that light engulfing everything. And the body does feel like it's going to disappear. I had to open my eyes and make sure that I was not
Mm.
disappearing at one point. I was like, oh, okay, we're having an experience. Close my eyes again
Mm.
and breathe and comforted my body. It's okay, body. It's okay. We're just going to walk through this.
Mm.
And it does, as an experienced gatekeeper, it does feel like you're walking through stargates, because they're literally stargates of the heart, and the DNA are opening up in that moment. But if you can keep yourself calm and centered and just let it present, and say out loud if you need to, just for comfort, I am love. I am light. I am infinite consciousness. I am safe, whatever you need in that moment, or just be with it. It will swell, engulf you completely. You'll feel like you're disappearing, transcending, going back into pure source consciousness. And then slowly it'll ease ease, ease, and you'll come back into the body. You never leave the body. Don't step out of the body or go into astral or whatever. Stay in 0 point in the heart, and the experience will quell, and then you'll feel like a brand new person, and you'll have to go back to your life, go back to waking consciousness, and walk around and go, "What the heck happened?" But it's these they are consistent and they get stronger. These beautiful experiences, and they're like they're preparing the collective, through the conduits. Have been having these experiences for a couple of years, and it's just preparing the collective experience for what is ahead, what is down the timeline a little bit of these solar flashing experiences, non physical experiences of huge swaths of the collective consciousness having this, it's like a springboard into unity consciousness, but a rewrite. It's washing away, again, resurrection, washing away the old, letting the old die, and coming into a higher level, transcending into a higher level of consciousness, awareness. And if you don't put thought or fear around it, or try to connect it to a story about your journey, now I'm fully activated, ready. I don't have to do anything else. You know, like what are we doing here? Because it's all in service to things that are going to happen to the collective. So, but that too, another widespread occurrence of that solar flashing experience happening around solstice. Beautiful, which I am excited about because it's happened a few times to me, and it does feel, and it just happened right after the convergence happened to me again, and I, I get excited, and I'm also like very humbled by it because I'm like, wow, this is going to change so many paths. There's going to be so much love available to everyone. And that's beautiful because the whole divine plan is to get so many conduits unified and having and getting all that unified DNA and the presence and everything to a certain level so that it naturally raises every willing heart, that every ascending soul, everyone who truly desires to walk into living and walking as love, as unity. Anybody who gets it or has it in their heart or desires it, even if they haven't embraced, ascension mastery and everything, it'll just raise them, awaken them that it's available here, right? Just
Yeah.
lovely. Just to create a little more ease and grace for the ascension process for people who are going to be newly awakened, or embrace an ascension, awaken to ascension, which is beautiful.
Yeah, and as you're talking about that, I'm just feeling the presence of cosmic mother. And when you talk about mother plasma and cosmic mother plasma and how that is infusing this whole process and holding us through this whole process.
Yeah, now that Gaia Sophia, the planetary consciousness, has created that field for our ascension way back in 2011, and then she went fully into it on the 12-12-12. So that field, that's why everyone sees New Earth and feels New Earth and sees all the angels, all of that is available because Gaia has already created it. But when you think of her as her desire to be to be that cradle of creation, to be that mother, to hold that pure field of cosmic mother energy for an ascension experience that would then echo out across the realms and all the planetary and the galactic and the universal that are getting like the bigger leveling up. But for Gaia to hold space for such a beautiful transition, transformation field for all of us is so beautiful. And even though Cosmic Mother has been associated with the mystery for so long, to get to know Cosmic Mother as not just as the plasma field, but as just the place where from which every creation is birthed is just so precious to feel that and to get to know that energy and to work in direct coherence and synchronization with with the cosmic mother plasma field that holds like all the infinite possibility for source to birth right through her is really beautiful. It's beautiful to experience that so strongly, and especially like through the explorations of mother plasma that we've been doing in the Presence Collective for the last couple of years, to learn again how to create from that field. And instead of separating that from Heavenly Father and the Paradise Sons, and like to feel like, okay, we've broken through the Trinity now and completely are now like in deep in the 0 point field where all of those factors are working in tandem to call forth a new creation. Just so profound. But to feel that consistent presence of the divine mother energy is such a comfort. It just washes away. She's all of that consciousness is just like there is no worry, beloved. Just feeling so held through the process and so encouraged too. She's excited for what we're going to birth through her. It's beautiful. And Gaia too. You know, Gaia is just she's not just supportive, but she's, would you go a step beyond? We've already created New Earth. Let's begin to create from that level of consciousness. She's excited because, New Earth creation, that higher dimensional, higher density kind of creation, isn't sticky and dense the way that we've been playing with. So Gaia's inviting us to play with the kingdoms and the elementals and what is here, and especially like the crystal kingdoms, in the same way that we do at like a 9 through 12 density level, where things kind of get created and uncreated very easily. It's a very plasma kind of state of consciousness. And I love to play with that too, even in your own journey, rather than making beginning, middle, end to every story of what you walked through the day. Yeah, what if we're like pliable and flexible and it's just more joyful? There's a lot more freedom. And it's a different kind of influence on our day-to-day activities too when we work from that state of consciousness. But I love that Gaia is kind of owning her ascension. She's got it. It's been on for years, but I think now she's excited that she has company upstairs.
Oh.
Everybody who's got the presence on, she's like, we're going to do some things. It's beautiful. It's beautiful because she's excited too about her next creation, but she cannot do it without us. That's the deal, right? She's created a platform for an experience of ascending humans along with the kingdoms and the elementals, but they're kind of there to support the divine human return of the Christ and everything too. So I feel like Gaia is excited now too.
That's so beautiful. And I just feel that intimacy. I feel it in what you're saying, and I feel it in my own experience that before it seemed like it was something that we were reaching out towards to try to experience. And now it's just so intimately here, inside, in like playfulness and sensuality, in that like spiritual sensuality.
Truly. And also unity consciousness, Christ consciousness, Also, even though the intimacy is on and consistently there, there's also an intimacy with all of creation.
Mhm.
So it's not like me and my relationship with Gaia
No.
or cosmic mother or source or whatever. That's beautiful. But to also witness how I interact with all of creation and especially humans, so much love for humanity and everything that everyone is experiencing that in a lower state of consciousness would have been sorted out into good, bad, doesn't get it, definitely ascending, not ascending. Like it, all of that just washes away. There's like a celebration of here is everything, right? It and just to see the beauty of it and the intimacy with unity consciousness that flows through all of creation, every human, really appreciating and honoring everyone's journey. And even though there is a dedication to the ascension, there's also a witnessing and an honoring of how people will walk through these gateways. Definitely a divine neutrality in which is really feeling that intimacy with source itself because source doesn't carry. We always say care but don't carry, right? You don't carry other people's journeys as even though we're going into collective unity consciousness, knowing that the higher vibration does the work and raises everyone. And if you focus on that and amplify it, it's going to naturally raise people into the natural thing that they are, which is pure love, light, intelligence. There's nothing else here. There's nothing else that exists. There are definitely frequencies that lost their connection to that, but it's kind of none of our business. That's source's business, right? So there's an honoring and a love for everything that everyone's experiencing and the fascinating experience of watching people evolve, not evolve, ascend, not ascend, get it, not get it. I know we're not capable of creating the distortion of judgment, but to witness everything with such deep appreciation for Source just having a good old time with all of these different expressions and knowing that they will resolve themselves, that distortion will be completed, that ascension is inevitable, to feel that, not just for me, but for the collective, for Gaia, for all of these realms. There is no other outcome but ascension. And that's on a multiverse level, but to kind of trickle it down into our little planetary consciousness and what we're experiencing here, that also just changes a lot of different realities for a lot of different planets and galaxies and realms. It's there's a widespread effect of this little microcosm of planetary ascension that we're experiencing, which is not just profound, but it's comforting to feel that, to know it on such a deep cellular consciousness level that it's all going to be okay. That is beautiful across the board. There's literally nothing else. It's okay. Okay. When we keep reminding ourselves of that and stop questioning God so much, because when you get to know what God source actually is and what love light intelligence source actually is and get to know it through source point, 0 point within, it shifts your perspective on the whole game of incarnation, of density, of what's the point of creating distortion if if it's all love, light, intelligence, it kind of answers the question itself. It's exploring everything that love is and is not, going to the edges as far as that will reach. Definitely played with that on this planetary consciousness. A lot of people just playing with how far away from God can we get? And then come back again. It's like, definitely pushing the edges of that for a lot. And trust me, there are universes that are experiencing other levels of darkness that are way beyond anything we're playing with in this universe.
Mm.
So have some perspective, but just to feel like the pull, the magnetic pull, like right through 0 point, right through God itself, of come back now into unity, come back now into love, light, intelligence. It's the only reason why we're experiencing ascension. Cosmic cycles are what they are, they're supporting it, but that's the reason why we're all feeling the awakening and experiencing this ascension, is because there is that clarion call to come back into unity, to come back into synchronization with 0 point, with heart, with love, with what we actually are. Right. Lovely.
Lovely.
Mm.
Yes. Oh, this has been such a beautiful experience. And I am so grateful to be able to share this with people, this space that you create. And I feel like I've traveled through all sorts of what shall I say, resonances and an intimacy with all of this through your words. I feel very moved, like in that the heart, the emotional heart, but also this place in me that is saying yes, yes, yes. We remember now.
Beautiful, sister. Thank you so much. And thank you for holding this space too for conversations like this to unfold. I feel that's important, for all of us to tap in, light grounded into words, feel things together, and spend some time heart to heart with some sisters is beautiful.
Yes.
Love you so much.
So I love you so much. And I'll put in the show notes all the ways that people can connect with you. So please, when you're listening to this, look in the show notes. But if you'd like to just say, like, the name of your website and the ways that people can find you, especially the newsletters and all your offerings.
Yeah, go to ascensionpath.com. That's ascensionpath.com. That's where all of everything lives. And you'll find the sign up free light letter, free weekly light letter, free unity meditations. There's free classes now, a lot of resources. So it's a good place to start. And my socials and everything are listed there too. So go to ascensionpath.com and start playing. And please, if you sign up for the light letter, hit reply once in a while and say hello. I love meeting people who are stepping into the collective. So thank you.
Yes, it's so beautiful, those offerings that you have. And I am so grateful too that this is happening right now, right as we're going into the sacred season. So bless you. And I love you so much. And we'll speak again soon.
Thank you, sister. Blessings, everyone.
Spirit of leadership,